Our MC today is Derek Bell, who is a legendary endurance racing driver. Derek is a 5-time winner of the 24 Hours of Le Mans and 2-time winner of the Sports Car World Championship. At Sebring, Derek had several heartbreaking near misses, including 4 second place and 2 third place. Oof. That's tough. And in 1986, he set the fastest lap at Sebring, driving a Porsche 962, a record that still stands today.
We had some pretty exciting moments. The 917 round the old circuit was a sight to behold, I can assure you. And I remember just flying, we used to call it Warehouse Straight, and we used to disappear somewhere down that direction from the hairpin. We went past all these buildings, the guys out there were working on cars, and I sort of shot, well, not me, but we all used to disappear down there. And I remember Mario was right behind me in a works Ferrari, and suddenly my car, instead of turning right, went straight on, which was most un-Porsche-like. It's the only time the Porsche broke all year, but the suspension collapsed, and I went through about 3 layers of barbed wire fencing before I stopped just this side of Orlando. And but it was such an amazing place, and we all said we're never coming back to this awful place again. And we're still coming back 30 years later, or 39 years later. So it obviously has a very special place in all racing drivers' sort of life racing history, particularly the 12 hours. We could talk about it for ages, but obviously we want to get on with the afternoon. Okay, our next inductee has a record 28 career starts at Sebring. Look at him, he's so young. I mean, he's amazing. I wish I had the same pills that he had. Anyway, he'd won Sebring twice, in addition to 3 victories at the 24 Hours of Le Mans and 5 wins at Daytona. In 1973, he won the first IMSA-sanctioned Sebring race, driving a Porsche with Peter Gregg and Dave Helmick. And of course, we all seem to remember Hurley along with the Peter Gregg era. His second Sebring victory came in 1981, driving a 935 Porsche with Al Holbert and Bruce Levin. Without question, one of America's greatest road racing drivers, who's still racing today, please welcome to the Sebring Hall of Fame, Hurley Haywood.
Thank you, Derek. You know, reality kind of sets in. As I was driving here, I was teaching a Porsche school up in Birmingham and had a long flight here, and it was delayed, and I didn't get here until about midnight. And I was driving over this morning, and it suddenly hit me that when you start getting inducted into these different halls, you really realize that you are old. And but Sebring really is a special place. I remember coming here in 1971 with Peter Gregg in a 911. I mean, it was a kind of place that was just really magical. And we stayed at an old place, Harder Hall, that was down in Sebring, a classic kind of hotel, and he had all these old gray-haired people from the north that were down there for the summer or for the winter months, and it was just a really unique event. And this really, Sebring is one of my favorite racetracks. It's got a lot of history here. And I'm really honored. One of the things that I'm connected with, I think, the most is Porsche and Brumos. And I met for the first time Hans Hermann, who I remember as a kid growing up reading about him. In our Brumos collection, we had an RS-61. He was in that era. It's just a real honor to be able to meet Hans. This is the first time I actually shook his hand and said hello to him. I've seen him many times from afar, but never up close. And all my friends from Porsche out there, I really appreciate the support. I'm one of the few guys, I think, out there, racing drivers, that have identified themselves with one mark for such a long time. And this year, my last race, my last professional race was Daytona. Nobody believes me, but we'll see about next year. But anyway, I'm honored. Thank you very much for inducting me into this great hall. I've got a great class here to come in with, and it's truly an honor. So thank you very much.
Chokes me off a bit. He didn't have to use his glasses for that. But,